So let's talk about prosperity theology. So prosperity theology is the belief among Christians, and again, this, as I say, this is not a mainstream Christian belief. It's sort of an offshoot. But the belief is that uh, financial well-being, financial blessings, God wants wants you to be rich, basically. Um, Faith, positive speech, and donations to religious causes will increase one's material wealth. The idea of tithing, um, that what you give out will come back. I mean, this is the basis of, you know, uh, a spiritual belief about money, but where this goes to other directions is basically that those who have money are right with God, and those who do not have money, there's something that they're not right with God with, and it's either a question of not having enough faith, not praying enough, uh, and it is kind of, as I say, it has a common connection to the ideals that were set out in some of the New Thought traditions that we have. But it's changed. And it's changed in that it it is a way of focusing on wealth above all else. And where some of the New Thought beliefs, you know, uh, talk about the power of the mind to create prosperity. Um, this is really more about uh, the right belief and the rightness of being rich. I guess that's the best way that I can put it. So they took some of the, basic beliefs and modes of evangelistic teachings and combined it with the idea of prosperity. One of the early teachers of prosperity theology, was Oral Roberts, who explained the laws of faith as a blessing pact in which God returns donations sevenfold. And this was mainly a way for him to get donations into his church. Um, so, and the televangelists, like Reverend Ike and Jim Baker in the 1980s, all of them, uh, you know, promoted this idea that the more you gave to them, you just pick up the phone and call in and give us your money. The more you gave, the more you'd get back. So the idea is that if you are suffering, if you have financial problems, then there's some sort of spiritual corruption involved, and you need to make atonement, basically. Atonement is viewed as providing for the alleviation of illness and poverty, um, which are, in their minds, curses that can be broken by faith and righteous actions. Now, let's go back and see how this differs from some of the more progressive or new thought kinds of beliefs. So, when I say new thought, what I mean is a movement. It's a spiritual movement that began here in this country around in the late 19th century. And, new thought is different from religion, and it's sometimes thought of as higher thought. And basically, the concept of new thought is that God is infinite intelligence and is everywhere and is the totality of us all. That true human selfhood is divine, and divine thought is a force for good. And that healing comes from the mind and reawakening the mind. So some of the core beliefs that started with New Thought and some of the New Thought creators were Phineas Quimby, who started the Christian Science movement. And others such as founders of Unity, Myrtle Fillmore, and the Church of Divine Science also, they're all part of that movement that began in the 19th century. And it really is, it really talks about metaphysical practices and the idea of our eternal connection to God. So, the idea of poverty, or of, the idea of lack is something that causes us to not have prosperity. So it's really the ideas or the belief in lack that kind of creates lack in a way. That's the idea. And then once this then becomes codified into having to believe in a particular religious dogma, and that if you are having financial troubles, if you are not feeling particularly prosperous, it's because you're not right with God. And rich people are always right with God. You can see where that sets up a bit of a, well, I guess you could call it a kind of classist way of looking at things. And it's a way of, saying poor people are less than, and that wealthy people are, right with God. And to have that kind of belief that is front and center in the leader of this country it's a little bit disturbing. It's a little disturbing. So here are my thoughts about prosperity, and they are along the lines of what New Thought organizations like Unity have to say about it. But money, if you want to talk about money, is simply a manifestation of energy. It's an energy we all have. So using that energy is what creates our prosperity. understanding that that energy goes out and comes back in many different ways, and it's just part of the process, is how we begin to get in touch with the prosperity that is all around us, that is ours, that is part of our lives. When we start to have fearful thoughts, when we start to believe there's not enough, and it scares us, and it makes us feel small, and it makes us want to hold on to things, it actually changes our energy, our bodies, our way of thinking, our way of dealing with the world. So instead of being in the flow of things, we pull back. We're frightened. We're hiding under, you know, the bed or what have you. And it's this fear. It's the belief of lack that fuels all of the kinds of ideas that, particularly, you know, those who are conservatives, those on the political right, who talk about, having to pull back and not provide for, social services and things of that nature. These are all fear-based things. The idea that there's not enough. We hear the rhetoric all the time. Social Security is going to be, a disaster in a few years. We are in too much debt, and we owe too many people too many things. So, and those are all fear-based beliefs, and we create them. And, I create them too. I am still working through prosperity issues personally, and I think we all, have our issues with prosperity, and it is given to us. We create, as I say, we create these situations to help us grow. It is given to us to remember that we are truly prosperous, that our energy creates the flow that brings prosperity. Our connection to divine mind gives us, divine ideas that are energizing and bring prosperity. These are the things that, prosperity consciousness is all about. But the kind of prosperity theology that Osteen and others on the Christian right and others, who are involved with the mega churches and our new president, that's a different story. That is kind of a way of condemning those who don't have, which seems pretty antithetical to Christian teachings and the teachings of Jesus, who said, the least among you, what you do to the least among you, you do to me. So there's the difference. And if those who are wealthy in our world, who have a great deal of money in the bank or own a lot of things, if they feel that they are divinely appointed and divinely inspired and above others who don't have those things, well, that can be, quite troublesome for the creation of fairness, particularly in laws and in government. So one hopes that some of the more positive aspects of prosperity consciousness will seep through this kind of belief system, and not turn negative,